Good evening and welcome back to Throw the Flag Football. We're almost there. My name is Scott, and the 2021 NFL Draft begins on Thursday night in prime time. Tonight I want to talk about a pick I wasn't going to talk about, but it's been getting a lot of hype, some smoke, some intrigue, a press conference yesterday that was fairly interesting, and so it made me want to go ahead and do an episode about it, so we're going to. I wanted to talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the third pick overall on Thursday night. And this is an intriguing pick based off the information that's now coming out about who that pick might be. But first, let's talk about how they got the pick. They traded with the Miami Dolphins, who had the third overall pick, and they swapped picks with them. So they had the 12th and Miami had the third, so they swapped. Miami gave the third up, and also the San Francisco 49ers then gave up a third round pick in this draft, as well as a first round pick in 2022 and another first round pick in 2023. So it turns out to be a swap of first round picks, a third round pick in this draft, and then a first round pick in 2022 and a first round pick in 2023. Pretty good haul for the Miami Dolphins, who moved to 12. Funny enough, the Miami Dolphins weren't done. They went and then made a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they moved back up to 6. So Howie Roseman and the Eagles moved back to 12. So when the smoke all clears, it is the 49ers sitting at 3, the Dolphins sitting at 6, and then the Philadelphia Eagles are now at 12. So what makes this so interesting at 3? Well, when they made the trade, the Niners, during the press conference when the trade was made about a month ago, they said, we just didn't want to hide anymore. We just wanted to be able to go to pro days, and we didn't want to have to say, people to pick up on the fact that we might be going for a quarterback. That was the whole theme of the press conference when they made the trade a month ago. Now, in yesterday's press conference, Kyle was asked directly by a beat writer if they had anybody in mind when they made the trade. And Kyle's response was that they had 3 guys that they were thinking of when they made the trade. And now that the pro days are over and the Zoom meetings and all of the gathering of the information, now they have 5 guys they would be comfortable picking at 3. So the list of guys has grown according to Kyle. Now, of course, this you got to take with a little bit of grain of salt. There's a little bit of maybe a malarkey in this a little bit. The reason being is we're so close to the draft. They know who they're going to take. They're just not telling the media. And there's a lot of reasons why. One, why ruin the night? The night's always special to find out whose the pick is as it's happening, so they don't want to do that. The second reason is, God forbid something happened to the player that you named. He gets hurt, gets in a car accident, and again, not wishing anything on anybody like that. But things happen. This is what life is all about. Some things happen like that. And so now you have to take somebody else, and he always is now the player that was plan B. And so you don't want that on a kid. And, it's just something that you don't want to do. The third reason probably would be you never know. Some team could give up a king's ransom for your pick, make you an offer that you just can't refuse. For instance, the Saints, giving up their whole draft for Ricky Williams. Or how about the Herschel Walker trade, with the Vikings and the Cowboys. So, it can happen, and it has happened. So you just kind of wait it out. You keep your cards close to the vest, and you wait till draft night. But know this, they know who they're going to take. Now the question is for us to try to guess who that is. And there's been a lot of talk in the media, a lot of talk among people that like to analyze this kind of stuff. And so we're going to kind of do the same thing. So let's talk about the 3 guys that are most talked about. And the funny thing is, it's kind of been like a horse race, right? Mac Jones was the guy at first when the trade was made, and he was the guy for a while, and people talked about it for quite a bit, that he was going to be the guy. And then about, a week and a half ago, all of a sudden it was Justin Fields is the guy. And, it was pretty clear that he was going to be the guy. And now Justin Fields is out. That's the new thing, is he's no longer going to be the guy. He's not right for the offense for them. Justin Fields is out. And now treylance is coming out of nowhere from the outside like a horse race, coming down the stretch. And now treylance could be the guy. So let's talk about these 3 guys. First, we want to talk about Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama. He is 6'3", 217, redshirt junior. You know, he was a two-time national champion. He was the Davy O'Brien Award winner, the Manning Award winner. What other accolades does he have? Consensus All-American this year. He was a All-SEC, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. So he's a smart kid, and he's supposed to be the best processor out of the quarterback group. And then he tested the best, is what I've read and heard. Now, how they test him for that, I don't know, but supposedly he was the best. The main thing about Mac Jones, and the reason why people like him here at this pick, is that he is supposedly the one that fits Kyle Shanahan's offense the best. He's a quick processor. He gets the ball out quick. He's accurate. He can throw in small windows. Now, the windows are going to get smaller in the NFL, but he's good at doing that. He's a proven winner and a gritty player. He could have left Alabama, could have went in the transfer portal and played for not anybody, but he would have been able to play for, decent school and probably got to play right away. Instead, he gutted it out and he became the starter at Alabama and won a national championship on his own. So, not on his own, but, he became the quarterback that won the national championship while playing at Alabama last year. Trashed Ohio State. They thumped us good. Got to give them credit. They played well and beat us, and he was a big part of that. So that's really Mac Jones. The only thing that I have when I'm looking at Mac Jones as being the pick is when I think about Jimmy G as well. Jimmy G, I think Mac Jones might be a little better than Jimmy G, but not a lot. And maybe just better at staying healthy. That's what might be. I don't know. But he's not that much better, in my opinion, than Jimmy G. So you're going to give up 2 first-round picks and a third for a guy that might be better, a little bit better than Jimmy G? I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's the argument. The next guy that I'll talk about is Treylance, because Treylance is now the second guy that might be in this group to be the pick. And he's 20 years old, so he's younger by 2 years on both of these guys. He's 2 years younger than Mac, and he's 2 years younger than Justin. Redshirt sophomore. He only has played in 17 games and 1 game last year, which he didn't play well in. And he does have some interesting accolades as well and stats. And the one thing that I want to say about his stats is interesting. In 2019, he threw the ball 287 times for 28 touchdowns. He had 0 interceptions. None. Now, not the most accurate guy in the world, and maybe he didn't have any interceptions because he was overthrowing his receivers and the defenders. I'm not quite sure. I didn't see him read a lot and progress a lot through reads, so he's a project. So he was a one-read kind of guy, and from what I could see, he would look for somebody. If they weren't open, he was tucking it and running. Now, he could run like a deer, and he is a true monster when he's running. And so he's just a big guy that he'll run people over. And that's what he has going for him, is his legs. And I will say he's probably the best football runner. Kind of reminds me of Cam running the football. And so he's got that going for him. He is a project, though, in my mind. I think that if you take him, you're trying to develop him. And the thing about that is I don't understand how you could take a guy at 3 nowadays and sit him behind a Jimmy G and say, we're going to mentor him. We're going to give him, it's kind of like the Patrick Mahomes philosophy. But is Jimmy G going to be up for that? And then do you do that with the number 3? Is there going to be so much pressure that eventually sometime during the season you're going to have to play him and you're going to have to take some growing pains with him? The problem with that growing pain theory is they're ready to win right now. They're in a window of time that they're ready to win now. George Kittle is in his prime. They have pretty good young wide receivers. I think they're in a win now mode, and they're not in a rebuild mode. And I think that's kind of like if you're taking Treylance, you're kind of thinking rebuild. And I don't think he's that quarterback. I'm not high on Treylance only because I don't think he's ready yet. He can be a monster. He definitely has the biggest ceiling and the most potential. So if you're taking a guy based off that, and there are NFL teams that draft like the NBA. The NBA likes to draft players by potential. This is an NBA type pick to me. You're taking him for what he could be, not what he is. So just keep that in mind. Some of his accolades is he's a 2-time FCS national champion, Walter Payton Award winner in 2019, Jerry Rice Award winner in 2019. Some other accolades there. Basically, offensive player in his conference, first team, all MVC. So, he's a good player, but just a project. And we'll see what happens with that. If he becomes the guy, I'd be surprised, and he wouldn't be my pick. But Justin Fields is next, age 22, 6'3" and 228. So he's almost as big as Treylance, and ran a 4.40. That is incredible. Now, and he shows speed when he's running. It's not just like he can run that and it's not on the field. If you watch his tape, he can run pretty fast. It's not deceptive, it's speed. He was one of the 2019 Heisman Trophy Award finalists. He is a Big Ten champion twice, 2019 and 20. He led Ohio State to 2 playoff berths and Big Ten championship MVP. So he's got a lot of accolades too with him. He's mobile, big arm, accurate on deep balls. The couple things that I didn't particularly like was that, not that I don't like Justin Fields, because I like him for the pick. I actually would take him there at 3. But his delivery, I think, is a little longer, and he sometimes makes bad decisions. What I mean by bad decisions is he tries too hard sometimes, and he's trying to make the big play, and I think that's coachable. I think they'll take care of that. He was a Clemson game, playoff game, 22 for 28, 385 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. This is after getting his ribs racked by one of the Clemson linebackers that was called for targeting. 8 rushes and 42 yards. I bring that game up because he showed a lot of heart in that game, and I think that he won a lot of people over with that game. Now, what's being said is that he takes too long to progress, and that he can't read as well, and that Kyle doesn't like him because of his delivery. And I will give it, or that came up actually, that his delivery was a little long. Whether Kyle likes it or not, I don't know. He is an accurate quarterback on the deep ball. He can run like it very quickly, and he's got everything that Treylance has as well, except that he's a little bit more accurate than Treylance. He's more accurate on his intermediate to short, and he's a better deep ball thrower. So if you're comparing those two, Fields far and away is better for right now, and he has room to grow as well. And so my personal opinion is I would take Fields at this part of the draft. I'm not sure it's going to happen. It's looking like it's not going to happen, but he would be my guy. And not just because he went to Ohio State, but mainly because I like my quarterbacks to be able to run a little bit. And I said it in an earlier video. There's only 2 guys I would take in this draft, and it'd be Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. If I had to choose, if I wanted to take a quarterback to be the quarterback of my franchise, those are the 2. So it would be Fields and it would be Lawrence. And so we'll see what happens. It's a very interesting pick, and I think that it's going to probably, I still want to say it's Justin Fields. I still think in my heart of hearts that he'll end up fitting better in San Francisco than any of the other 2. But we're going to find out what happens. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I may try to get another one up before the NFL draft, but we'll definitely talk afterwards, breaking down the draft and discussing some of these things. So I hope you have a good night, and I hope you had a good time watching this. Bye.